All right, so this is just off the cuff. I don't know if I'll even post this video. However, it's just something that's going through my mind right now. So I figured that I would just impromptu, as candidly as possible, discuss the subject of identity. That is a huge subject, I feel like, in today's world where we some people say they were born a certain way. They say that they have these certain feelings and therefore this is who they are. This is in their DNA, it's in their genes, it's in their mental state, it's maybe even a spiritual state that they're in that they can't get out of, and this is, their identity. This is who they were born to be. Now, there's a lot of implications to this. A lot. I mean, who decided that that was their identity? Was it God? Was it nature? Was it their parents' genetics? Was it was there some sort of basis in society, that some sort of pressure, some sort of externality that made them be the person that they believe they're supposed to be? Or let me throw out another alternative. Can your identity be chosen? Or is it bestowed, right? Is it bestowed upon you by someone? Is it chosen by you or someone else who you will be? So, just something I'm trying to wrap my head around, because here's the thing. Have you ever I don't know what you would call it, maybe LARPed, right? Live action role playing, where you pretend to be something, somebody, possibly like some sort of, you pretend to be some sort of character, so you in some sort of role. Let's say, as a kid, that's all kids do, right? So they're LARPing. They are pretending to be something, right? And sure, they're going to be inclined to pretend to be this thing or that thing, a fireman or a princess, especially depending on the gender, which I think that's a whole nother category that I'm not necessarily looking to hit on right now, but I may. But what you'll notice is they like to pretend, right? And then eventually, I guess my whole point is, I think this is what we do as we are aging, is we are inclined, let's say, to pretend to be something or someone. And then after we pretend, or we act out that someone that we believe we are inclined to that we pretend to be, once we act out that person, we eventually become that person. Hopefully you know what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, we become, in my mind, many a times, the person that we act out. So if I want to become a kind person, I may not be just kind. I may not be born, right? Kind. It may not be in my nature to be kind. However, if I act kind, if I intentionally, consciously act kind in my daily interactions, I believe I will become kind. It's a self-fulfilling prophecy, because I think what you're doing is you are forming your character through action. So it's not that you need to have the identity before the action. It's not that I feel like I'm this, and so then I need to match that identity. No. What it is it's I believe that I should be this. Therefore, I'm going to act it out, because that's my ideal. Okay, that's my ideal. That's the mark that I'm aiming toward. And I'm going to act it out until it becomes part of me, until it becomes my DNA, until it becomes my my MO, right? Until it becomes my nature, it becomes second nature. Now that is my identity. So you could say, You could say you have a ideal, you act it out. Now that's not who you are right now, but as you act it out, it becomes who you are. You become that thing. So now that is your identity. Okay? Does that make sense? So I think that's how it works in most cases. I think it's, now one could say, well, this person may have a proclivity toward this identity or toward this ideal. Sorry, I dropped my pen. Or toward that ideal. And so therefore, that is their identity. And then they start acting it out and becoming that. But I don't know. I think it's more, I think that what you're talking about, or what a person would be talking about there, is what they are surrounded with. It's their influences. So then that manipulates, that forms in their head what an ideal looks like. So for instance, if somebody says, my ideal is to, everybody around you saying the ideal is to become transgender. Obviously that's a hot topic right now, and I don't know anything about the YouTube regulations and rules, and so if this gets pulled, oh well. But let's say I want to become transgender, because that's the ideal. And what makes it the ideal? Is it because I naturally have those inclinations, or is it because I am seeing that these people here who are transgender are getting attention, they're getting accolades, or if I see like majority of my friend group, my peer group, especially when I'm young, are getting are all involved in this, all think that this is the ideal, then now I'm receiving that influence toward my identity to where that's my ideal. Now I may not be born this way, but I feel like I'm inclined to do that. Well, why am I inclined to do that? Well, it's because my friend group. Either way, I'm going to act it out until now I'm suddenly believing that this is who I am. This is my identity, because I'm now acting it out. Now I'm becoming this way. So now this is my identity. This is who I was born to be. But actually, I've become that. I've formed my identity through my actions based upon peer pressure, let's say. And so if that's the case, and then you realize, like, now I'm in this new group, I've gone off to college or what have you, right? I can become something different than what I claim that I was. All I have to do is act it out, and then I can become it. So what is important, bottom line, is what is your ideal, right? What is it that you want to become? And then you need to start living out what you want to become, right? And when I'm talking about this, I am not saying you can live out becoming something other than what you categorically are. You can't become a dog. You can't become a cat, a furry, right? You can't become a woman if you're a man. You can't become a man if you're a woman. There are boundaries to your identity, and they all compose and constitute your identity. So there are boundaries to your identity. And then within those boundaries, just like a garden, within those boundaries is room for creativity, for your uniqueness, for your likes and your dislikes, for your talents and your abilities and your interest and your skill sets, and the person that you foresee, the attributes that you want to have. So there are categories. And listen, here's the thing. Your identity is not based on the categories. It's not. Your identity is based upon your personality. And your personality is the person you are. And still, you're a person. And within that, you have certain, what you would call immutable, unchangeable attributes. For instance, I'm a man, right? I'm Caucasian, let's say. I have a certain color of eyes, certain height, certain age. Those are objective, immutable, unchangeable attributes of me, but they are not my identity. They are describers of a person They're a description of a person. And that person is going to be what makes me me from the standpoint of my unique abilities, creativity, contribution to the world, outside of the categories. Categories is superficial. The categories is just the external me. But the internal me is my ideal that I have been trying to live out, right? Been trying to live out. That is me. I am not my addictions, for instance. I am not my addiction. So that's certain appetite that my body craves, let's say these addictions. But that's not me, okay? Because that is a result of being human, but it's what you would say the flesh. Using, let's say, spiritual terms, carnality or the flesh. That is not me. That is my body. The soul, we're talking about your inner man or inner woman. The soul is you. That is your identity. And let me go further in this. So we're talking about the category is not me. So my outside traits, that's not me. What is me, my identity, is who I am in the world and how I act. It's my actions, it's my thoughts, it's my beliefs, okay? That's me. And sure, we put a name on it. So my name is Josh, right? So that is me. I am not this external part. No, me, Josh, is internal. You can't see it. It can only be expressed, right? It can only be expressed verbally or artistically, what have you. Anyway, I think I'm being derailed. What I do want to say, though, is that the categories, if you want to say that that's your identity, that is bestowed upon you by our Maker. Okay? So you are born under certain categories, and if you want to say that that's part of your identity, that's fine. I don't think that's your identity. I think those are descriptions of a personality. Okay? That's your soul. So God does put you in a category when you're born. Now you can't, that's immutable, it's unchangeable. What is changeable is your identity from a moral excellence standpoint, from a right and wrong standpoint, from a standpoint of how you treat others. Like, that is changeable. Takes action. All right, family's home. I may put this up online, I may not. Let me know what you think if I do. Thanks for listening, guys.